I become.
I believe.
I am.
I am a great voice artist.
I have found and have come to love my own voice.
Someone out there needs to hear my voice.
Driven by my purpose.
Mission.
And passion.
I am not just any voice talent.
I am a voice artist.
I have a pure heart.
And I will use my gift of voice to make other people better.
And happy. With greatness and excellence.
And I can self-express.
Because I am a success.
With my CVAP family support.
My potential and opportunities
To serve using my voice,
are limitless.
I'll promote voice acting as an art.
And create positive social change.
With my voice.
I am a loyal,
Committed.
Dedicated and empowered servant.
I will use my gift of voice.
To inspire.
Inform.
And illuminate the next generation of voice artists.
I will create
A culture of sharing.
Giving.
loving, and caring.
And will always have an attitude of gratitude. I will do it
To give back my gift of voice to God.
from the province of Cebu.
I am Joshua Anthony Simeon.
CVA. Certified voice artist.
Meron ka bang gustong sabihin, ngunit wala kang mapagsabihan? Isulat ang iyong nararamdaman upang ang pakiramdam ay maginhawaan. I am your queen of the voice, Sweet Nicole, ang iyong karamay na makikinig sa kwento mo.
Mga TikTok girl, sobrang ganda mo. Ang panoorin kita. Mga TikTok girl, sobrang ganda. Filipinos are known. Mga TikTok girl. Filipinos are known to be caring people. They are very hospitable and mostly happy. They are also loving, may it be for friends, family, or lovers. But what makes Filipino love and courtship different from other countries? Let's go back to the early courtship. Courting is called panliligaw in the Philippines, where the suitor is called manligaw and the one being pursued is called the nililigawan. Filipinos are more discreet and conservative in terms of love and expressing feelings or attraction for one another. In the Filipino culture, love revolves around respect for the woman and family by strictly following the set of rules in pursuing a lady. The manliligaw is expected to establish a friendship first. Making a drastic move would imply that they are aggressive or arrogant. To be fair, the girls also need to follow a certain attitude when they are being chased, and it is termed as dalagang Filipina. To be a dalagang Filipina, you need to be mahinhin or shy and pakipot, hard to get. You cannot show any direct interest to the guy who's pursuing you, even if you really like him. It is known to be a virtue that is highly sought after. So, how did Filipino couples end up together before? Here are the steps in traditional Filipino courtship. Step 1. Find a go-betweener. Since the manliligaw can't approach the lady directly, they have to find the chosen one, or a mutual friend of both of them that will basically help you out in your exciting journey of courtship and capturing the damsel's heart. Step 2. Tuksuhan or teasing. So you've established mutual friends. Now, those friends will tease that both of you look good together and play matchmaker. And that's how things start forming, where both of them realize that they are compatible and are interested in each other. Relax! After these steps, it'll be your choice in wooing the girl. The usual things lovers used to do was sulatan or write love letters to each other, and harana or serenade. It was a practice Filipinos picked up from the Spaniards, where in the night, the man accompanied by his friends will sing a love song in front of the girl's window as she looks out and listens to their performance. Then, there's paninilbihan, or acts of service. It is said when you are courting a Filipina, you are also courting her family. Filipinos really value their family, so parents play a major role in their daughter's love life. The manligaw is expected to visit her family to introduce himself and to show that he is really serious in winning the girl's heart. It is also a way for the parents to see if the man is sincere about being together with their daughter. After that, the manliligaw is expected to do so more frequently while bringing pasalubong or gifts. Courting can take months or even years, but after perseverance, patience, and hard work, with the approval of the parents and the girl saying yes, they would finally be kasintahan or lovers, and eventually they would get married happily ever after. This went on for centuries, but then the digital age has arrived. The invention of cell phones, gadgets, and the internet. A lot of things changed, as well as the art of courtship. The 21st century introduces texting and emails rather than letters. You can tell each other how you feel in an instant. Even sometimes woo the girl through it. And online dating was made. Filipinos are not limited to dating only Filipino citizens. Now, they can even date someone from the other side of the globe. Everything has become fast-paced since then. Everything in an instant. You can be friends yesterday, lovers today, and sadly, maybe strangers tomorrow. Relationships these days don't always end up in marriage, somewhat fleeting and very temporary. Relationships now tend to be easy to lose as they are also easy to get, not only in the Philippines, as well as other countries around the world.
Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Kayo po ay nasa Queen Voice of All Seasons. Base po sa napanood po ninyong video, nagpapasalamat muna ako kay Dragonita Violeta YouTube channel para sa video na inyong napanood. Base po doon, ang ating pong tatalakayan ay very interesting tungkol po sa panliligaw o courtship. Okay. Hayaan niyo po muna na bago natin pag-usapan ka mga kaboses, hayaan niyo munang ipakilala ko po sa inyo ang aking co-host. Bagamat hindi ko kasi magsisimula ng tuluyan ang programang ito kung wala po yung aking co-host na napindot ko na kaagad kanina yung video niya. But nonetheless, eto po, para makilala nyo ang maganda kong co-host ngayong gabi.
Mga TikTok girl, sobrang ganda mo. Ang panoorin kita, inaadik na ako. Cause girl, you are my TikTok girl, sobrang ganda mo. Sa galaw mong pambihira, napahanga mo ako. Yeah, you got the smile that I can't deny. Nai-love ako sa matulad mo na Pinay.
Yes, mga kabosses, here she is, my co-host tonight, Lady Anne, The Voice Love. Okay ba?
Ayan. Okay po. Okay po. Katulad po ng pakiramdam ko ngayong gabi na to na punong-puno ng excitement kasi po, Miss Lynn, I was really pleased with the opportunity to be one of your co-hosts kasi it's really a blessing for me.
Thank you.
Magandang ng maganda, pogi, at mapagmahal na viewers ng KVOAS, ng Queen Voice of All Seasons. So,
yes, thank you.
Thank you din.
Yeah, magandang gabi. Yes. Napaka-exciting nga talaga ng topic natin ngayon. No? Thank you so much sa iyo, LA. Okay lang ba tawag kita LA o Lady? Ano ba ang preferred title doon?
I prefer to be called po Lady Anne, kasi to be called LA po kasi one day I would love to go to Los Angeles.
Wow!
So, pwede na.
Looking forward to that. Okay. So kaya nga nang sinabi ko, napaka-exciting ng topic natin ngayon. Very, very interesting. At alam kong malilinawan ng ating mga kabosses ngayong gabi. Lalo na ang mga nanliligaw o manliligaw pa lang, no? Patungkol din sa mga topic natin. But before we proceed to that, before we proceed to that, hayaan muna nating ipakilala ang ating special guest ngayong gabi. Very excited po ako para mabigyan ng katugunan ang mga katanungan ng mga nasa estado ng panliligaw at nagbabalak manligaw. Yan. So mga kaibigan, hayaan niyo po ipakilala ng aking magandang co-host ang ating guest ngayong gabi.
Opo. Salamat po talaga, Miss Lynn. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for your words of love. And yes, tama po si Miss Lynn, no? So ngayong gabi po, it's really a fun-filled and a very insightful evening. Kasi po, ngayong gabi mga kabosits, sa lahat po ng ating viewers, isang karangalan po para sa akin. Pakilala sa inyo ang ating napaka-importante at napaka-special guest ngayong gabi. The person in authority pagdating sa mga ganito. Talaga naman po, he has a long list of achievements, no? So he's a member of the International Network for Personal Meaning. He's also part of an international affiliate, Division 32 Society of Humanistic Psychology of the American Psychological Association. He's also a trainee from the International Institute for Existential Humanistic Psychology, certified, he's part of the Certified Clinical Anxiety Treatment Professional. He's also a Certified Clinical Trauma Professional, Level 2. So iba po talaga ang level ng ating special guest. He's also an expert when it comes to clinical telemental health provider. He's also into grief counseling, and he has completed a certificate course in existential humanistic psychology. And currently po is undergoing certification on the meaning therapy. Alam mo, Miss Lynn, excited ako dito eh. Meaning therapy and existential humanistic psychotherapy.
O,
So,
diba?
diba? So ano nga bang mga kahulugan yan? Kahulugan ng lahat ng mga pinagdadaanan ng ang mga gustong manligaw at alam.
Yes.
Okay, and he's also a fellow of the Psychological Association of the Philippines. Ito pa po, sabi ko nga, he has a long list of achievements, and one achievement that he has, he placed third in the licensure examination for psychologists in August 2016. He's a licensed psychometrician and a psychologist. Talaga. Speaker for a number of seminars regarding mental wellness. Okay, and he's from the University of San Jose Recoletos. So, isa pong Cebuano. He established a system for the enrollment process of Children's Paradise Montessori School. So, napaka-interested ako dito, Ma'am Lynn, kasi ako po isang preschool teacher.
Okay.
He established a love of learning and psychology in the students' thought, and established a screening and evaluation process for student applicants to Children's Paradise Montessori School. Nakakatuwa naman talaga. I can strongly relate to our guest tonight. And one of the speakers at the government training seminar for public preschool teachers and daycare workers for the Genius Baby Project of the Cebu City local government. And he's certified by the Cebu City local government as a Montessori trainer. Ang galing naman talaga. Ang galing talaga, Miss Lynn. Talagang, ako po yata talaga nakatalaga maging. Okay. And alam niyo po, Miss Lynn, hello po. I'm back. So one very good thing pa po about his name, I'm very interested po kasi in names, no? So siya po, one of his name is actually the saint of educators. So talaga po tonight may educate po tayo ng ating special guest tonight, no? He is at present a clinical psychologist and psychotherapist at Exordium Existential Psychotherapy. Ladies and gentlemen, to all our viewers, our very special guest for tonight, be more excited. I would like everyone to give him a warm applause. He is Mr. Vincent Thomas Evangelista.
Hi, Sir Vincent. Magandang gabi po sa inyo lahat. Okay. Magandang gabi, sir. Okay. We are so happy to have you tonight po. Kamusta po kayo?
I'm doing
Kamusta,
fine.
Sir?
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Blessing to
ang pogi pala ni Sir, ano? Kumbaga, millennial ang po. Sir, welcome po sa Queen Vice of All Seasons. Binarapat po ng programa na ito na talakayin po sa buwan ng pag-ibig, ang mga tungkol sa pag-ibig po talaga. At alam ko po na yung ating pag-uusapan ngayon ay would be very helpful po sa ating mga viewers, sa ating mga netizens, na alam ko pong makakatulong ito, sabi nga nila, for mental wellness as well. Di ba po?
Yes.
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 Opo, yes, Sir Vincent. Opo, kasi katulad ko na sinabi ko kanina, no, yung pangalan po kasi ni Sir Vincent, may Thomas, he's actually the saint of educators. Di ba pa? Tama po ba ako, sir?
Yeah.
Na isang guro. Ang paksa po
St.
natin
Thomas
ngayon.
Aquinas.
Thomas Aquinas.
Yes.
Particular. Yes, first step in choosing the Mr. Right or Miss Right, na sana ako rin ay Miss Right na rin sa kung kanino man yan. Na nagkamali ka ng decision, you can no longer take back time, diba? So sabi nga po, isang bagay na hindi na natin mababalik. Tama po ba kami, Sir Vincent and Miss Lynn?
What was the question?
hindi na
Mr. Right?
Mr. Right, no? May sasagutin niya ni Sir Vincent, ano? So, nag-agree ako, Sir Vincent, kay LA, no? Nag-agree ako sa kanya na, syempre, she's looking for Mr. Right. Ikaw, sir, na nakita mo na si Miss Right, nakita ko na rin si Mr. Right, no? Ngayong gabi po, hayaan niyo pong simulan muna natin ang ating pag-uusapan sa isang katanungan po. Dito po, ayan, papakita ko po ang unang tanong, Sir Vincent, ng ating, yan. Ay, teka po, hindi po yan ang unang tanong. Ito po ang unang tanong. Yan. Sabi po kasi may stages daw po ang courtship from the first meeting o first attraction hanggang sa commitment o engagement. Paano po ang stages na ito at ano-ano po ba ito? Yan po ay galing kay Gwen Rimas of Sampaloc, Manila.
Now, that's very interesting because the stages are very dependent on region and place, right? We're in the Philippines, we're more traditional. But I guess the difficulty in balancing now is because we're starting to become more liberated and Western, right? So we're starting to adopt more of the Western, American, European style of courtship. So in terms of stages, generally, if we're talking about stages of courtship that ends in just being together, right? Then that would be attraction, obviously, right? Being attracted to the person, starting to notice that you like them physically at least, and starting to consider, hey, I want to get to know this person. I want to get the chance to actually be around them more often. Then it would progress towards generally a second stage, which is called building comfort and trust. So you start to get to know the person more. You start to see if you become more comfortable with them in the long run. This is really the stage of both people trying to get to know each other more. So basically asking questions, getting to know intimate details about each other, where you're from, who are your family members. Usually in the Philippines, the question is, where are you from? Or where did you study, right? Sino-sino mga kamag-anak mo? Like, that's very important to ask, right? So, details such as that. And then, once the couple starts getting more comfortable with each other, they start progressing towards intimacy, right? Where they start feeling for each other in terms of, they start being physically intimate in terms of, can I hug you now? Or can I put my arms around you, right? Again, we're in the Philippine culture, we're very fairly conservative. So, little acts of affection, no? Hawak sa mukha, hugging, right? Not go all out kissing and everything, but small, subtle, physical, intimate acts. And then and the interesting thing about that is, according to some researchers from Oxford University, they actually noted that physical intimate acts like holding each other's hands and touching someone's face, if you're comfortable with them, actually starts to strengthen, right, or move towards stability of the relationship. That's why it's important to have physical intimacy when you're, starting to become a couple or starting to get to know each other. And then eventually after that, people start going out, dating, going on dates, again, giving each other more opportunity to get to know one another. And eventually you get to the point where you start feeling more serious about it and you ask yourself the question, am I considering this person to be a partner? And then you can end up deciding, okay, maybe I'll give it a try and start moving towards commitment, right? Again, commitment in a sense of being together as a couple, not really getting married right away, but at least traditionally putting a label and, saying, tayo na, we're together, and that's it.
Yeah.
So those are the basic stages, if you want to call them stages, and how those stages look like, basically. Like, holding each other's hand.
Yeah. Diba? May mga ganon. Kasi yung iba akala ganon lang kabilis, lady? Yung bang tayo
Yes
agad.
po.
No, may nangyayari ganon, ano? So,
Oo.
ayan. No? So, para sa young men, I hope that's loud and clear to you sa sinabi ni Sir Vincent, no? And we have another question, sis, no?
Yes po. Okay. So, thank you po, Sir Vincent. No? So, for sure, si Miss Gwen, maliwanag na po sa kanya yung kung ano man po yung mga agam-agam niya sa naliligaw sa kanya ngayon. No? So, nasaan man silang stage. Yes po.
Correct.
So, next po, we'll be having, I hope I'm right in saying this, we'll be having another question. It's from Mr. From Mr. Leandro de Ramos of Caloocan City. So, magandang gabi sa iyo, Mr. Leandro. So, ang tanong niya po, how long should courtship last? And how long is too long? So, ano po ba yan? Kasi po ba sa months, ilang days? So Sir Vincent, so, sana po matulungan natin si Leandro dito sa kanyang kapanuan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Looking at it from the regional or traditional cultural perspective, again, as I've said, it's fairly different per culture and per region in the world. But typically, I would say it can last from around, in very fast-paced culture, 6 months up to 2 years before actual commitment happens, no? And then an interesting question that was asked is, how long is too long? I would say that is going to be a case-by-case basis. Because in the Philippines, traditionally, yung mga lalaki yung nanliligaw, di ba? The question would then be, how long can you wait, right?
Ayun.
Because at the end of the day, if you feel like parang sobrang tagal na before nako-consider niyang mag-say ng yes, right? And if you generally feel like, I don't think I can wait anymore, then if you're having those doubts, it might be good to consider whether you want to wait or not. Because the issue that I end up seeing there is you might end up being resentful, right? You start, complaining in your head, I don't think she likes me enough, or I don't think she knows my value, and all of these things. Although I do understand the female perspective, where women just want to make sure, right? You want to make sure that the guy really values you enough to wait. I mean, that's the whole point of the waiting, right? You want to see, is he willing to wait for me? So that I can know that he values me. But I guess it's also important to have a sense of honesty there. Because at the back of my mind, it's like this. If the woman allows the man to wait, there's this unsaid rule or idea that you're interested in him. Right?
Okay. Yes.
Because kasi pinapahintay mo eh. Right? Kasi if you're not interested, you would have to say,
right away.
Parang parang ayaw ko. you, di ba? You can go.
Yeah. Kung ayaw mo, di sabihin mo
yeah.
na, di ba? Pinag-antay mo
Yeah,
matagal.
exactly. Exactly.
Actually, sabi po
So-
mam-basted po, parang ganon.
Yeah, I mean, you can be subtle about it. Pwede namang
Yes, po. Yes, po. Subtle
not
or
not
discreet.
really aggressively saying it na ayoko sa'yo, don't wait for me, right? You can honestly you can just say, I think it's going to be a long time before I'll be ready. And I can tell you that. The question
Wow.
is, would
Are
you
you
be willing to
willing?
wait that long, right?
Yes, yes.
And maybe in the waiting you start to realize maybe he really likes me that much and all of those things. But typically it's 6 months or to 2 years, right? It depends on whether you like the guy to wait for you, or the guy can wait for you, or
Yeah,
the
that's it.
woman really feels like I can't wait anymore too, and I have to say
Yeah.
yes. So at that point, what's the point of the time and then the waiting? So I'm saying, what I'm saying is there's pros and cons to taking your time, and there's also pros and cons to giving it a bit of time and then saying yes. Because at the end of the day, I think the last thing I want to say about it is, are you lying to yourself by making the guy wait, even if you're really ready to say yes, right?
Yes.
Yung idea ko kasi parang niloloko mo na lang yung sarili mo eh. Pag
Oo nga.
pinapatagal mo pa, sinasabi mo, gusto ko mag-wait pa siya, gusto ko mag-wait, pero deep down inside, atat na atat ka na talagang mag-yes. So, ba't mo pa pinapatagal?
Yes,
Oo
sir.
nga.
Yeah.
May mga ganun.
Ma'am Lynn, maano ko lang, no? Iniisip ko po kung meron po ako makilalang ganyan, o ako po mismo. Iniisip ko talaga, naku, mukhang may mga natatamaan po yata ako. Pero thank you po, sir.
Actually, sir, LA is single nga. Hindi ko lang alam kung yan naghihintay o may pinahihintay. Ayan, wala na natin kay LA yan.
Opo, hindi ba po kami napagkukanto. Pero maganda gabi po sa mga closest friends ko at mga kamag-anak ko. Alam po nila kung anong status ko ngayon.
Ayan, malalaman natin yan mamaya.
Thank you po.
By the way, Sir Vincent and LA, no, gusto ko lang magtanong, in connection with what you just said, no, about how long is too long. Meron kasing ito po isang tanong, ito galing lang naman sa amin. Sir Vincent, this is the question. Ang pagtagal po ba ng isang relasyon ay nakabase sa haba o ikli ng panliligaw? Kasi minsan sabihin nila, pag matagal kang niligawan, mas kilala mo na, mas maglalas yung relationship. Now, kapag ka maigsi naman daw ikaw, let's say, kasi merong tinatawag na nagkita kayo, there's spark na raw, no? Kaya nung nagkalala na sila, parang nag-click naman, pero merong iba na within span of 2 months, okay, minsan nga weeks lang, naging sila, pero until now naman okay sila. Meron namang iba na napakatagal since elementary pa, pero hindi rin sila nagtagal. Pero meron namang super tagal na naglast. So, ano po yung masasabi niyo pahinggil doon? What can you say about it?
Well, I would say I'm not really looking at it from the perspective of quantity, right? How long? I would more or less look at it from the perspective of quality, right? How much do you know each other, and how much do you value each other? Because I think that's the most important thing. I would even say, to some extent, it doesn't really matter how long the relationship is, right? Before getting married, for example, because again, the question would be, how long was the courtship or pangliligaw before the yes, and then does it last? Or how long, for example, in marriage, how long was the relationship before getting married, and will it last? Again, I would say quality, right? How much value do both of you put into the relationship? And that is what will, be a bigger factor compared to the time frame. Like, maikli ba yung panahon or mahaba ba yung panahon? I would say what's in the time frame, right? How much effort, how much work, how much value did you put valuing the other person? I would say that is more important. And that would be a bigger factor than the time to say that, yeah, it will last or it won't last. And I think I do understand what you're saying, Ma'am Lynn, when you said there's a spark, right? Feels right, and that
Yes.
spark, that attraction, that understanding can be a good basis to say, yeah, sure, I think we're gonna work out, and then you work on it, put in more effort, and it will work. And there are situations where they end up being together for so long, ang tagal ng panahon from courtship in the relationship, and then it doesn't last. I would say that in my understanding and some of my experiences with regards to interviewing couples and dealing with couples in therapy would be the what happens is, in the length of time that you're in courtship and in the relationship, people change, right? People grow. What happens in some relationships, they don't grow together, right? Someone grows more than the other, and they are no longer the same person they went into the relationship with. And sometimes that happens, unfortunately. So what happens is, at the end point, like 4 years, 5 years into the relationship, they start noticing, we don't like the same things anymore. I feel like I don't know the person anymore. And then they start falling or growing apart. And yeah, it's really more of how much effort was put into the relationship, and how much time is spent getting to know each other, continue to getting to know each other, because being in the relationship isn't the end goal. You only put in the effort to get to know the person habang naniligaw ka, pero once you're in a relationship, akala mo finish line, no more effort, nakuha ko na. I mean, that's going to be a problem right there.
Yes.
So that's very important to consider and take note of.
Yeah. So, LA, hindi nababasa yun sa tagal at ikli, ha? Really have to put more effort, no? More quality time, no?
Yes, opo. And not just on, opo, and tama po ba, Miss Lynn and Sir Vincent, and not just on the guy, diba? It's really a two-way process. It's really the two of them working it out all together dun sa tagal po ng relationship.
Yeah.
So, what I got from that, Ma'am Lynn, no, it really, it does not depend on the time, the length of time that you're together as boyfriend and girlfriend. But it's on the quality time. Alam niyo po, talagang all caps po talaga sa notes ko yung quality. Yung quality pala, I mean, the quality.
Yeah.
All caps talaga siya. So, ganun siya ka-importante.
I really believe, as what the saying, thank you, LA. Sir Vincent, I really believe, as what the saying goes, no, it takes two to tango in a relationship, right? It takes two to tango, no?
Yes.
Kaya nga, no, if you want your relationship to last, kahit maigsi ka lang, very short ka lang niligawan, no? It takes two to tango. And let me have this another question for you, Sir Vincent. I guess this is from Tarlac City, Karen De Los Reyes. Bilang babae, may mga clear signs po ba o indications na dapat malaman kung yung guy ay nanliligaw na? Oh, LA, ito na, ha? At yung mga nakikinig ng mga kaposes.
Mukhang mas marami po akong masusulat pagdating dito.
Kasi minsan may mga patutsada yung iba, no?
Yes po.
Sige,
lalo na yun. Lalo na po nowadays.
Kasi minsan namimiss. Ayan, sige, para malinaw lang po. Kasi minsan, Sir Vincent, yung ibang, hindi naman pala yun. Kaya lang, ba't ganun yung galaw niya? Parang naliligaw siya. Nung diniretso mo naman, diniretso niya. Alam mo yan.
Yes po.
Yeah. Well, traditionally, obviously, we know the clear signs, right? Flowers, asking you out on dates, calling you a lot, having conversations for long periods of time, trying to get to know you, trying to meet your family, and all of these things. Those are the clear, traditional signs of courtship, particularly in Filipino culture and Filipino courtship. The issue that I see to some extent is modern times, right? Oh, texting, just texting, just talking about certain things, and then there are subtle signs like trying to be sweet and all of these things, which can be,
Yeah.
as you said, interpreted as maybe he likes me, maybe he's just being nice and all of these things.
Yeah.
And I this is how I understand that from the male perspective, right? I think some men do that to be safe,
Yeah.
so that if ever the woman ends up saying, "I'm sorry, I don't like you like that," then they can say, "Well, hindi naman ako nang ligaw."
Oo
I was
nga.
just being
Oo
ni-
nga.
I was just being nice, right? I was just being nice
Yes,
and
yes.
all of these things. So it's like having the best of both worlds, right? Giving
Yeah.
the mixed signals that you might be courting, parang nangliligaw ka, pero parang hindi rin, right? So that if it doesn't go your way, you can deny. So it's
Yes.
not clear. However, I'm under the impression and I'm fully convinced that people need to be very clear and communicate their intentions clearly, right? So, for women,
Yes, yes.
when you really feel like, I don't know, I'm confused, I don't know if he's courting or he's not courting, there's
Yes,
nothing
yes.
stopping you from asking. There's really nothing stopping you from asking the
Mm.
question. Like, you know what? I'm wondering, nangliligaw ka ba? Like, I I
Yun.
understand, right? I don't like, for example, I don't want to sound assuming or anything, but I'm feeling like we're getting to know each other more, and I'm really wondering if this is going anywhere, right? And so I want to be
Yeah.
clear. What is this? What is this? So, if he says, "No, hindi naman ako nangliligaw." Okay. Okay, I'll treat this as a
Yeah.
hangout. Because it will be a problem for you in the long run. You're
Yes.
wondering, nagugulahan ka na, and you're starting to have feelings but you're not sure. It's going to be a problem for you, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, I would encourage men to, but I will explain this from the male psyche in a sense, because traditionally men are the ones who court, women are the ones who receive it, right? And so usually the issue would seem like, oh, the men have to take all of the risks in that sense because they're the ones who
Yeah.
bear their soul and bear their heart out. But
Correct.
that's just how it is in our culture. And there is a healthy way of dealing with that pressure and the possible rejection and to make it work for you. My message is this: the more you encounter rejection, and the healthier you look at it, instead of saying, "Oh, sabi niya no, so parang there must be something wrong with me." No, just tell yourself, "Oh, hindi lang kami compatible." It's just, di
Yeah.
ba? That's just it. Take it as
Yeah.
feedback. So, we're not compatible. That she said no, that doesn't mean I'm a bad person. And the thing that I can tell you is, the more you get rejected, hopefully not, but the more you do get rejected, the less painful it's going to be. And here's the interesting thing that guys don't necessarily realize. The more cool you are about the courtship, like whether she says yes or no, it's not gonna be too much of a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
I like you, and all of these things. And then if the girl says, "No, I don't like you," no problem. Not really. It's okay. It's cool. Like, I
Yeah.
still like you, but I understand. That makes them more attractive. I don't know about you, as because that's what I've noticed from women. Guys who end up being more confident and not really stressing too much about the courtship end up being more attractive because they seem really relaxed
Yes,
about the
yes.
the whole thing. Compared to a guy who's like, I really like you, but I'm wondering if you like me too, and starts to feel very stressed about it, then it
Yeah.
would end up being very difficult to actually consider that. So,
Correct,
yeah, I
correct.
would say, just go out and try courting a girl. If she doesn't like you, take your loss,
Yeah.
try to learn from it. And it doesn't mean, I guess, what I'm saying is, it doesn't mean you're a bad person or you're wrong if a girl doesn't say yes to you. Because there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
you if someone doesn't
Correct.
like you like that. So, yeah, I would say people need to be more open and honest about the courtship.
Ang
Correct.
galing po.
Yan.
Ma'am Lynn, ang galing-galing. Ako, meron na naman akong
Sabi ko, para sa mga
meron na-
lalaki.
sa notes ko po talaga, sobrang sir, dami ko po talaga natututunan. Saka sana po, Miss Lynn, no, kung may mga nanonood na po tayong viewers ngayon, sana po mag-share pa po sila sa Facebook, no,
Correct.
ng episode natin. Kasi po, this is very insightful. This is really, really insightful. At marami pong natutulungan si
Yes.
Sir Vincent. Lalo na yung mga men na nanliligaw ngayon. Kasi tingin ko po, you're teaching all of us, especially the men who are really courting, about not being so desperate. Tama po ba ako? I mean, which is very positive.
Yes, yes.
That you don't so get attached to the result of you courting a girl, di ba, Vincent? Na ang nangyayari tuloy, you become more attractive. Which is, in a way, yeah, it's very obvious that you become more positive about taking things. So, ang galing lang po.
Yeah.
Thank you po. Sobrang natututo po talaga.
Parang take it so lightly, no? Sabi nga ni Sir, keep your cool. Parang cool lang. Take it so lightly. Ngayon, kung ni-reject ka niya, edi lalo kang magpagwapo. Lalo kang, alam mo yun, yung lalo kang you do something about yourself, no? I-check mo kung baka mamaya, yun yung sinasabi, you look at the mirror, tignan mo yung sarili mo. I don't know if I'm right, Sir Vincent, no? Tignan mo yung sarili mo. Baka mamaya meron sa'yo na kailangan mo pang i-improve. Baka mamaya kaya ka na-reject, medyo parang, as they say, isang hangin na lang ang hindi pumipirma, liliparin ka na. Ibig sabihin, masyado sobra kang payat. No? O, kumain ka muna ng marami-rami. No? Magpapogi ka muna. Kumbaga, mag-invest ka muna sa sarili mo. No? O kaya naman, kapag pagharap mo sa mirror, baka masyado naman ang sexy-sexy nung nililigawan mo. Tapos ikaw naman, masyado ka naman atang more flesh to hug, no? Medyo magbawas-bawas ka naman konti ng timbang. Ayun nga, in other words, you do something about yourself, no? Magpapogi ka muna, mag-invest ka muna, ganyan, no? Kasi magugulat siya, oh my gosh, pumogi siya, no? Katulad ng mga letter senders ko before, nung una, binasted niya kasi parang hindi niya trip yung itsura. Now, after, Sir Vincent, after nung, doon sa last work niya, may na-hire na empleyado, gwapong-gwapo siya. Nung nakita niya face to face, pambihira, yung pala yung naligaw sa kanya, na binasted niya. Tapos ngayon parang sisisi siya, na naging close sila, naging magkaibigan. Kaya lang siya, parang na-inlove na siya doon. Ngayon, ang in the end, ang trato sa kanya, friend na lang. Kasi nga, ilang beses naligaw sa kanya yun eh. 2 beses niya atang binasted. Nagpagwapo. Naging pogi. Ngayon, nagsisisi siya kasi iba na yung nililigawan. Parang ganon. Kaya yung mga babae din, I guess, no, you really have to be careful din sa mga sa mga decision na ginagawa ninyo. Di ba? Yun lang yung aking mga insights din.
Thank you, Ms. Lynn.
Yes,
Actually
yes,
po,
Ellen.
parang tama po ba ako? Gawin mo yung sarili mo na parang the one that got away. Thought ga ba? Tama ba ako?
Yes! Correct, exactly. No? Exactly.
Sa pag-apply ng trabaho, may relate ko lang po, no? Kasi lahat naman po tayo. Most of the manliligaws there are like, syempre nag-apply ka ng trabaho, you've gone to experiencing applying for it. So parang kumbaga sa employer, parang ikaw yung asset na nawala. Tama po ba ako, Sir?
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. Like, you're applying for a position as boyfriend. And you're trying to improve yourself so you're more marketable in that sense, right? So,
Yes,
hindi naman
hindi.
kasalanan ng babae din if you're just not the one she's looking for, right? She has certain preferences. And so, take
Yes
it as
po.
feedback, take it as motivation to try to be better.
Yes. So, yan po. Miss Lynn, will we go po to the next question po? Yes po? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So, in connection
Yeah.
po with what Sir Vincent, yes po, has been telling us kanina pa po, no? So, there's a question from Mr. Walmart. So, napakaganda po ng tanong niya kasi, yun nga, meron daw po bang tamang edad bago manligaw? Bata pa raw po yung emosyon niya, pero paano daw po kung crush niya na talaga? So, parang pakitulungan po nga ito si Mr. Walmart.
Yeah. Well, I would say you need to be sure how serious you are in taking whatever step you're taking, right? Because okay, so I'll explain this in terms of development. So, psychologically, teenagers, right? People who are in their teens up to the age of, let's say, 18 to be safe, right? Or sometimes 20. Their goal, their role, their goal, or their responsibility in life is not intimacy. It's actually self-discovery. It's identity, right? Trying to answer the question, who am I? Right? Who am I? What's what am I here for, and all of those things. When you're clear on that, you've fully established, okay, this is what I'm about, this is the type of person I am, these are my values, so on and so forth. Then you can try to progress into thinking, what would it be like to share myself to someone else? Right? And that is when you can fully say, yeah, maybe I'm ready to pursue a relationship and court someone because I am more or less complete. And that's the point. So I would say, if you want to be more mature and you want the better chances of your relationships to work, I would say wait until you're 18 to 20, or wait until you feel like you've fully known yourself and establish your own value and your values in life before you try to influence someone else's life. Because that's what happens when very young couples get into a relationship. They start forgetting who they are, right? They start forgetting how to focus on themselves, and they end up just focusing on the relationship. They get so drowned in the relationship that they forget that, hey, I have to grow and I have to pursue certain things about my life and all of those things. And sometimes they get fused together. They can't go out without each other and all of those things. They become very clingy. They become very insecure and all of those things. And it gets messy in that sense. So, yeah, work on yourself first. Make sure you end up having that sense of, I feel complete and I know where I'm going and I know who I am. And now I can pursue someone else's life and influence that life and give more of myself, and so on and so forth. Because again, I don't like the idea. Sorry, but I don't like the idea of people saying that, they think it's sweet. And I blame Tom Cruise for this because of Jerry Maguire. And I think a lot of women liked that statement, you complete me.
Complete me.
Right?
Nasabihin talaga kita, Sir Vincent.
Yeah. But the problem with that is you have to be complete before you get into a relationship. You can't put that responsibility on someone else to complete you. Right? Because at the end of the day, you're putting too much of a burden on the other person. And that's not necessarily very healthy for a relationship. So complete yourself first and make sure you're full before you start influencing and affecting someone else's life. Yeah. So
That's nice. No? Ganda nun.
Ganda po.
O yan, yung mga nag-aaral dyan na mga nag-aaral pa, di ba? So yung mga nag-aaral pa dyan, okay. Start completing yourself muna Completing your course. Honestly, I like
completing your requirements in relationship.
Correct, di ba? Kasi minsan sinasabi nila, Sir Vincent, kasi inspiration daw, inspiration. Kung hindi ka pa handang masaktan, hindi mo kayang tanggapin na sasaktan ka, hindi mo kayang ma-reject ka, abay, wag kang maligaw. Di ba?
Yeah.
Kasi kapag pumasok ka sa relationship na yan, meron ako narinig din na isang naging guest din na do not get into this kind of relationship if you're not ready to be rejected, if you're not ready to be hurt. Okay? Kasi hindi naman laging better process sa pagkakaroon ng relationship Handa ka na bang masaktan? Handa ka na bang ma-reject? Ayan. Gano'n na ba katatag ang damdamin mo, di ba? Ayan. Kumpletuhin mo muna yung sarili mo na maging bato. Ay, sorry, bato ba? Maging kumpleto talaga, no?
Yeah.
Diba?
I think it also I think it also comes from that concept of romanticizing relationships and love as one-sidedly positive or happy and joyful, right? But they don't necessarily understand that everything that we go through, everything in this world have two sides to it. There's always that possibility of beauty, joy, happiness, flourishing. And there's also the aspect about it that is the possibility of pain, sorrow, suffering. And relationships are somewhat like that too. If you are not ready for the pain, the vulnerability, the suffering that comes with every relationship, then you're not worthy to experience the joys, the inspiration, the love, and the fulfillment that it also brings, because you will experience that. It's very difficult to have one without the other.
I like it.
Getting into a relationship is a very scary thing. Again, it's very fulfilling, but it's very scary because if you think about it, you're really putting yourself or opening yourself up for another person to evaluate you, and you're putting yourself in a position of vulnerability, right? But that vulnerability makes you more receptive to their love if they give it to you. But if they're not willing to give it, it's also going to make you very vulnerable to pain and suffering. So the question is, are you ready for both, right?
Yes.
Ang galing po. Sobrang galing. Galing po talaga.
Kakaiba naman, LA and Sir Vincent, yung tanong ni Sylvia Turna ng Cabanatuan City. So tignan ko kung ito yung tanong niya. Let's see. Ayan, ito naman. Kakaiba yung tanong niya. Paano po ba mam-basted ng manliligaw? Lalo na kung hindi naman siya ang gusto mo. Pwede po ba na diretsahin ko na agad? Paano po ba yung way na hindi ma-offend yung guy? Oy, si Sylvia, malupit. Let's
well,
see.
Yeah, as I've said, it's always better to be honest. The reality is time is precious. Everyone's time is important. And it's important not to waste someone's time by making them hang on and wait for you when you're clearly not interested, right? So if you know from the beginning that I don't like him, I don't think I'll ever like him, then it would be very respectful of his time to actually say, you know what, I'm not interested. I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm just not interested. And that's fine, right? As I've said, men should be more mature to take those types of statements and say, yeah, no problem. It's not like, magagalit ka ba pag sabi ng company sa'yo na you're not the one we're looking for, right? Well, first of all, if you are, then shame on you, right? Because again, it's not their fault. You're not the one they're looking for. And in the same perspective, right? If the woman you're not the one she's looking for, then you're not the one. And there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with her. It's just you're not compatible. That's just it.
Yeah.
Right? You're not bad people. You're just not compatible. So that's for the woman. If you know you don't see yourself with a person, be honest. Just say, you're not my type. It's not going to work out.
Yeah.
For the men, right? I understand sometimes you want to hope So, and sometimes the women find it hard to say no. So they say, well, I'll just wait until he gets tired. Maybe he'll go away. So for the men, how do you get the clue, right? When you start noticing that the woman clearly doesn't match the energy that you put in. Because men put energy in courtship. We do, we give flowers, we give chocolates, we take women out, all of those things. If you feel that woman is not matching the energy and effort you put into the courtship, she's not giving you, the smile and the happiness that you expect, take it as a sign that maybe she's not into me. And I should just bow out and say, you know what? Okay, I get the clue. I get it. So have a nice life. And maybe I'll see you around. And that's it. No hard feelings.
Correct. Tigilan muna.
Yeah.
Oo nga po, para hindi sayang yung oras. Kasi you cannot take it back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Opo. Yeah, it is very precious, diba po? As the cliche goes, time is gold. So talaga naman, it's really important to really give respect to each other's time. Pati rin po yung oras ng nililigawan para hindi sayang. Tama ba ako, Sir Vincent?
Yeah.
Pinaka-alis po ako dyan kasi mukhang kita-pass po, dahil syempre hindi ko pa naman po alam itong mga to. Syempre po, yung mga in the past, may mga nasayang din tayo. Pero alam mo, just being honest about it po. No? Pero sobra po talagang totoo yung sinasabi ni Sir Vincent. Saka po, can I just add up lang po, Ma'am Lynn? Parang pa nag-a-apply ka ng trabaho at hindi ka na-employ at hindi ka ako po kasi pag hindi po ako na-employ, hindi naman po para maging mayabang yung dating. Pero minsan, on the brighter side, I just tell myself na baka overqualified ako or I'm more qualified into applying for another job. So, ganun din po. So, parang tama po ba ako, Sir Vincent? Hindi ka daw mapupunta doon sa taong para sa'yo kung nagkatuluyan kayo nung nililigawan. So, paano ko mapupunta doon? Diba po? You cannot receive something in your hands if it's filled up with something. So, it has to get empty. Para po yung kung sino man pag-ibig talaga na para sa'yo. Tama ba ako, Sir Vincent? Opo. So, in connection, so Sir Vincent, we would like to ask naman po, ano po ba naman ang mga dapat gawin dahil po may nagtanong na po ng kung paano nga hindi talaga siya yung para doon sa isang babae, ano naman po ang gagawin kapag siya ay nabasted naman? Lalo na kung sinasabi ng babae ay maaari bang friends na lang tayo? Talaga naman. Kasi priority ko muna magtapos ng pag-aaral. Para po sa mga kaboses natin na mga kabataan pa. Sabi nga, may mga gatas pa sa labi. Ayan. So, mga millennial. So,
dapat ka bang ipilit kung ayaw ng sakit?
As I've said, right, we have to be humble about it. We have to also be mature in the way we handle rejection. As I've said, just take it. Just say, okay, I understand. Now, the thing about being friends, I guess it's really up to you. If you can take it, right? If you can manage being her friend. But if you're honest about it and tell yourself, I'm really just interested in being your boyfriend, but if you can't give me that, then no, I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to be reminded of the rejection that you gave me. And we also need to respect that, right? Hindi din pwedeng, ipilit ng girl na, no, you have to be my friend. No. So, if the guy doesn't feel comfortable, then so be it, right? But then again, as I've said, we need to be mature enough in handling rejection and understanding that rejection doesn't mean you're bad, you're wrong. It just means she doesn't like you that way or you're not the one she's looking for. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Would you be comfortable being with someone who doesn't like you the same way? right? That would be a disservice to you. It would make you feel better. Oh, it wouldn't make you feel better about yourself in the long run. So yeah, just take the rejection, motivate yourself to grow from it, right? And try to look for someone else to spend your time with. That's just how it is. As I've said, the interesting thing is the more rejections you face, the more it's not going to bother you, and the more mature or the cooler your outlook about dating and courtship would be. Like, you know, you end up being very chill when it comes to talking to women, for example, because you're no longer stressed about, can I say the right thing? Is she going to like this? No more like overthinking. Just say, if I say the wrong thing, she doesn't like it. Okay, moving on. Like, it's going to right? It's going to seem more natural,
Yes.
and really you will have more opportunity to be authentic. You have more opportunity to be truly yourself when dealing with people, when dealing with the women you're trying to, court. And I can say that, I can't speak for women, but based on, my experience, and again, my acquaintances' experience, they end up feeling more comfortable when someone they interact with is authentic, right? Not really trying to impress, or not really trying to, say things just to make an impression. So if you can have a more take it or leave it attitude, or I'm just trying to get to know people, and if we click, then good. If not, okay. So that would be a good way of looking at it.
I would just, yes, correct. Yeah, I agree. Just like what you said, Sir Vincent, kami kasing mga voice artists po, nagsasubmit kami ng mga voice auditions, no? Para ma-consider kas voice artist sa isang act, no? Like Deb, na nagsasubmit kami. Ngayon, kasi parang panliligaw ganun din eh. Pag halimbawa nag-submit ka ng voice audition piece mo, voice sample mo, and then the client did not get back to you, dapat wag kang masaktan kasi hindi ka pinili eh. Parang ano lang yun, just like what you said, submit it and then forget it. Huwag ka na umasa kasi nga masasaktan ka na. Hanggang sa mag-mature ka na ganun pala talaga ang buhay ng voice artist. Submit lang ng submit hanggang sa mapili ka, hanggang sa siya na pala talaga para sa'yo. Okay? So, courtship is like that. No? Parang isang voice artist din. Once you submit it, you forget it.
Forget it.
Yeah.
Kasi
Just do
pabalik
it.
naman sa'yo.
Just do it. Just do it.
Di ba?
Opo.
Correct. Di ba?
Kung para sa'yo,
Grabe.
para sa'yo.
Anyway, Sir Vincent, yes, kung hindi bukol, hindi bubukol.
Bukol nga. Tama ko.
Sir Vincent, correct. Agree. Due to the effect of pandemic, no, Sir Vincent, reports show that digital media use tremendously increased, and as people spend more time at home. Now, my question is, in relation to this, ano po ba ang masasabi ninyo dun sa tinatawag na online courtship na sinasabi? Is this ideal or is it recommended?
Well, if that's what you have right now, that's what you have right now, right? We can't say that, don't do it because it's not as good as face to face. I would say again that if you're going into the online dating scene with the expectation of starting to get to know people, and not really, I'm going to find the one and all of those things. Maybe you will. That can happen. But if you get into it with the idea that, I'm just trying to get to know people, and if I get to know someone that I really like, then maybe in the long run, we can consider each other. Right? Because I don't think the screen is going to be a very big block to getting to know someone. Because at the end of the day, I do online counseling, for example, and I've never felt in my sessions that there's something missing. I can't feel my client's presence. No, because again, if you're doing it for the right reasons, right? And if you're really putting in your mind that I am conversing and I am interacting with this person and putting value in the person, right? Then the person will notice that, you know? When you pay attention, you pay attention. When they talk, you listen intently. That presence is still there. You don't need to be in front of each other face to face for that to happen. So I don't necessarily think that, a screen is a hindrance to connection. Actually, it's very important during this time that we try to stay connected with each other. And if you're looking for love during this time, online dating might be right for you.
Correct.
Right? And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yes po. Oo. Ma'am Lynn, talagang kasi I myself, nung una po hindi po ako naniniwala sa online dating, mas happy ko na po, no? Baka po kasi Ma'am Lynn, mag-react po yung mga kaibigan ko na, kailangan mo sabihin. Before, so I was a believer of online dating. So talagang alam niyo po yung sinasabi ng mother ko na kailangan naliligaw siya, pupunta talaga siya sa bahay ko. Kailangan yung mga foreigner na yan, mahirap yan kasi hindi mo yan kilala. Pero until po I really got interested in trying it myself. And actually po, hindi lang naman po sa idea na po ba ako Sir Vincent. Siguro may mga clients ko kayong ganun. Hindi lang naman yung para magkaroon ka ng boyfriend. You get to meet a lot of people and you learn to discover yourself more as a person, as a friend. Tapos po, Ma'am Lynn and Sir Vincent, ako po, meron po akong dalawang kaibigan na who went into online dating, no, just to inspire the single ladies there. At kinasal na po sila last year and they're really, really happily married po ngayon. So, ako po, talagang naman po ako. Tama po yung sinasabi ni Sir Vincent, that it's in the presence. Ma'am Lynn, alam mo ba, nakabuo ako ng hashtag, no, sa sinasabi ni Sir Vincent. It's in the essence of the presence. Opo, it's in the essence of the presence. Okay ba, Sir Vincent? Hashtag. It's in the presence. Diba? Presence regardless of that essence in the presence.
Yeah.
Okay? So, sense of getting to know the person is in the presence, regardless if you're getting to know the person online or face to face. So yun lang po. Share ko lang yung essence in the presence. Opo. So bago yan.
Still dapat andun pa rin ang communication. Yes. Yes, sis. Go ahead.
So pero bago pa po, magtatanong pa po yata tayo, Ma'am Lynn, no? Nang marami pa pong questions kay Sir Vincent at matututo pa tayo. Pero ngayon po yatang point na to, we will give way to FB comments. Yes po. At ang mga katanungan din ng ating mga kaboses. Tama ba ako, Ms. Lynn? Ayan, si Rian. Sa ating kapatid sa Certified Voice Artist namin.
Hi, Rian. Ito si Coach.
Ayun po, Ma'am
Coach
Lynn.
Chris.
Nakilala rin po pala kayo ni Sir Chris. Dati ko pong boss yan sa Center for Pop Music Philippines.
Hi, Sir Chris. Hi, Coach. Ang poging-poging si Coach, pambihira. Napakagwapo talaga niyan. Ano mo ba, ano sinabi niya, LA? Ito, basahin mo. Ako hindi talaga sanay manligaw.
Ilalaglag ko po siya in a good way kasi naliligawan po yan, Sir Chris. Peace, Sir Chris!
Oo, malakas kasi appeal eh. Siya ang nililigawan kasi, no? Pambihira, no? Body build pa lang pambihira, no? Gapong-gapo. Kaya pala hindi sa nililigaw, no? Siya ang nililigawan. Okay, and we have Ton. And so, ayan, ayaw lumabasa. Yan! Great day. Thank you, Ton. Thank you. And we have another one from Pao. AI voice. Yan. Sabi ni Pao.
Oo.
Sense of being complete sa self first. Tama nga naman. And then we have, yan, sis, pabasa nga yan kay Rian.
Yes po, sabi po ni Rian, Rian, di ba po she's from batch 1, no? So I've read somewhere po na dapat it's like to independent people who promise to give their support to one another. Ano po ulit? So parang, yan. Oo. So parang may, kailangan po yata.
Dalawang tao.
Oo. Kailangan talagang you support each other, pero may sense of independence ka dapat before you go into a relationship. Di ba po? Para iwas.
Yes.
And we have another one from Pao. Great day, Miss Lynn in LA. Great day to the great and insightful guest of the night, to Sir Vincent. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Pao. Thank you, Pao. Thank you, sis.
Thank you, Miss Pao.
Okay, so I would like to read this one po, Ma'am Lynn. You can put, Pao is sharing this insight, no? You can put the responsibility of completing yourself to another person. More people need to hear this. Ay, talaga naman. Pauulitin ko, you can of completing yourself to another person. Ano po
Kaya
ba ako, Ma'am
sinabi
Lynn?
ni Sir Vincent kanina, di ba? Yeah.
Opo. Kaya po yata sabihin mo muna sa sarili mo before telling it to somebody. Every day, you complete me. I complete myself. Tama po ba? Kailangan yata ganun.
Yeah.
Tama
Sabi
ba
nga
ako
ni Sir Vincent, no? Yung you complete me, no? Wag mo ipasa sa iba. Okay. At syempre, ang BFF mo. Yan.
Ito, ang aking boss.
Karshi. Very friendly.
Hi, Karshi, dear. Thank you for watching.
Hindi ko alam kung sino nag-message nito. Ang fresh po ng guest at host, yes. Ang fresh po ng guest namin.
Kung sino man po
Talaga
yan.
ba?
Ako.
So we have.
Kita na kasi para mailibre.
Si Moises daw. Hi, Miss Lynn, Miss LA. Hello din po, Sir Vincent. Ayan, Moises, pwede ka nang lumapit, Sir Vincent. Ayan, para maturuan ka ng manligaw.
Ang dami po. Ayan po.
Ayan, si Pao.
LA is on fire. Oo, nakaread talaga ako, sis, no? Loving the passion in your words. Oy, thank you so much, my... I call her po Pretty Pao, no? Kasi kabatch ko po siya.
Yes.
Nung
si Pretty Pao. Eto. Si Moises, pakinggan mo naman. Basahin mo naman.
Sabi niya po,
grabe naman po pala.
Grabe.
Si Moises talaga. Papakausap ko na kay Sir Vincent, eh. And let's listen to Karshi. Yan.
Ayan po. If you will allow me, Miss Lynn, no? Sabi ng aking ganda at napakabuting co-host sa The Microphone Club, sa Pilipinas po, we are very conservative in terms of courtship as a way of finding our partners. Mas recommended po ba yung idea ng dating like sa ibang bansa before two people commit in the idea of courtship, or is it the same or different? So siguro po, parang paano po ba yung paano po kayo yung love interest mo ay nasa ibang bansa? Ganun po yata yung gusto itanong ni Karshi. I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering kung ba tinatanong niya ni Karshi.
Meron ba pagkakaiba, Sir Vincent?
Yes, there is. No, again, traditionally we have a very conservative outlook in courtship, and in the US it's more liberal. It's more, there's more freedom in terms of what men and women can do. Here, there's more constrictions. Obviously, these are the rules for men. These are the rules for women. But I would say again, there are influences of Western culture, American, European cultures into our courtship traditions, and I guess the challenge is to balance the perspectives, right? Because I would say there are things you can learn from both. It's important. The lesson that I can take from the traditional Filipino culture of courtship is the value that you put in yourself. Like, that's why the women want men to prove themselves, because you're showing how much value you put in the person. But in the Filipino perspective, the value is measured in time. That's why the courtship is long, right? But I'm saying show the value in terms of behavior and not necessarily the time you're waiting. Show it, right? Manifest how much value you put. Make the other person feel valued. Don't measure it in time, but measure it in actions, right? And the thing that I would really take from the Western perspective is honesty. right? The communication.
Yes.
There's not much subtlety there. Really, if they don't like you, they tell you, right? If they're not interested, they tell you. Because I feel like, again, as I've said, our time is important. And I don't like it when people waste their time trying to be, prim, proper, subtle. And then what happens is they wasted their time and,
Yeah.
they spent 2 years trying to court each other. At the end of the day, they didn't like each other that much. And wala na, you can't take back the 2 years.
Oo nga.
Because no one was comfortable
Yes.
telling the other person, I'm not interested. It would have been a very simple
Yeah.
statement. So
Yes.
that's
Agree.
something that we can learn.
Ayan.
Ayan po.
So that's
Thank
for you,
po.
Karshi. Ayan.
O yan. Hello, Miss
Now we
Lynn
have
and
Sir Erwin.
Ayan. Hello, Miss Lynn and Sis Ellie. I still believe in courtship. Ito po ay nasa abroad, no? So, long distance relationship sila ng wife niya. So, proud manliligaw ng aking wife, sinabi niya. For 2 years, basta malinis and malinaw ang inyong intention, guys. Huwag playing safe at dapat sure kayo and be ready. Matured and strong enough to handle kung ano ang sagot ni girl. God bless everyone. Galing na po ni Erwin. Kabatch ko po yan sa batch. So,
Yeah.
Talagang love na.
Hi, Erwin. Yes, no? At ipa-flash ko lang to, though I think nasagot na ito. I guess nasagot na to ni Sir Vincent, no? Yung tanong, nagpapatanong daw. Pero nasagot na to kanina eh. Paano ba tatanggapin ng friend zone sa perspective namin mga guys asking for a friend? Aro!
Yeah, again, you need to ask yourself if you're comfortable being in the friend zone. Can you take it, right? If you really, because I really, I believe in not lying to myself, right? I believe in people not lying to themselves, and they have to be honest with themselves. So if you really like the girl, and then she tells you, I just want to be your friend, can you maturely take that? Can you emotionally handle just being her friend? Because if you're always going to have at the back of your mind the idea that maybe she will like me, or maybe eventually she's going to grow to like me, or maybe she's going to fall for me, you're hurting yourself. You're hurting yourself, right? So if she says, take her word for it. If she says, hey, I just want to be your friend, ask yourself, can I be her friend? And if I can't handle it, then you can also say, but I can't be your friend. So no, right? And you don't. It's, again, we need to be honest with ourselves.
Galing po. Saka, di ba, Sir Vincent,
Yes.
it's a way of you redeeming yourself then.
Yeah.
Di ba po? Parang,
Yes.
redemptions in, I am more like compatible with another person. Kumbaga po sa business, Ma'am Lynn, kapag tinagyan ka ng gusto mo maging kliyente, sasabihin mo na lang talaga sa marketing, di ba, next ka na talaga.
Yes. Next. Ayan. Para sa'yo yung tanong.
So, tinatanong ko, Lady Anne Briguera, na ba? Meron sis, sarili ko, everyday. Topic po namin sa show namin. But I don't want to sound very, very religious, no? But more of spiritual. Kasi po ako po, Ma'am Lynn, ay matagal nang single, no? Pero I've been a member of 2 spiritual families po, 2 spiritual communities. And I've been really encouraged and inspired by mga sis ko po na mga may asawa na sa community that you have to be really the right woman first. And you have to have this date with God every day. So, bago mo talaga makita yan. So, again po, disclaimer lang, I don't really want to sound really religious about it. But this year po kasi I've committed to really knowing myself more po. Kaya nga po yun yung topic namin sa The Microphone Club Online Show. Di ba, Vin, Elman, and Karshi? Galing-galing naman ni Lady Anne Briguera. Thank you, Lord.
Kasi Sir Vincent, going back to what LA has said, no? Meron po kasing mga, halimbawa, ako rin po ay Christian, no? Parang sila, halimbawa, nasa courtship stage, sasabihin nila dun sa guy, let's pay for it first. kumbaga, we are not yet sure sa emotion nating dalawa, why don't we entrust these things first kay God? Okay? So, no communication muna, walang date, walang ganito. Ilaan muna natin sa prayer. May mga ganun pong perspective ang mga ilang Christians that I know, no? Na talagang inalagaan mo nila. They call it covenant eh. They have this covenant, no? Talagang hindi sila nag-date, walang communication. So, inalagaan nila sa prayer yon. Now, if God's willing na tayo, pagdating sa point na to, meron silang hinihinging mga signs. Tayo. Pero kung hindi, tanggapin natin kung ano. May mga ganung perspective po yung mga Kristiyano. Okay. Yun na na-share ko lang in connection with Ella has said. Ayan, Karshi, daming learnings. I like the concept of Sir Vincent sa responsibilities ng babae and lalaki before entering courtship. Yes, correct. Diba?
Amen. Hindi po talaga, Ma'am Lynn, sa sinabi niyo po.
True. Thank you, Sir Vincent. Ito po, ano po namin to, suki po namin to, Sir Vincent, pasensya ka na, ipapa one-on-one ko sa iyo ito eh.
Hi, Moises. See you on Saturday.
I believe in courtship, making the girl special in many ways. Yung i-court na lang yung kulang.
Ano bang court yan? Basketball court, volleyball court, Moises.
Volleyball court. Okay. So, Sir Vincent, meron lang ako, LA, may gusto lang ako itatanong. Pumasok lang sa isip ko. Sir, what can you say about those guys na pinagpupustahan ang courtship? Yan.
Tanda po ng tanong ni Ma'am Lynn.
So, they're making it a game in a sense, right?
Yeah,
if
that's
the
it.
If the girl will say yes or no and so on and so forth. Yeah, well, I'm a very open person in terms of the choices people make because I don't really believe that I'm in a position to judge people based on their choices, right? But my caveat to that is as long as no one gets hurt, then I would say, well, to some extent, that would be fine as long as no one gets hurt. The problem with that is there might be someone who gets hurt because if the woman finds out that the whole process was just a game, it would end up being painful for the person. And that is something that people should be more cognizant and be very, conscious about how our actions impact someone else. Because if you consider that, that you are just making a game out of the courtship experience for you and your friends, and then the woman finds out and she ends up being traumatized by it, that she would no longer be open to a relationship, then you, to some extent, you've contributed to ruining her life in terms of relationships, just for your own entertainment. That's a big burden to carry if you're serious about how you treat people, right? I would say, however, unfortunately, not everyone cares too much, right, about other people's well-being and feelings, right? There are some people who are fine about hurting other people. So, yeah, it's just, I guess in to some extent, it also falls to the woman in that sense, unfortunately, to be careful with who she engages with, right?
Correct.
Because, again, at the end of the day, that's the whole point, right? You're trying to get to know whether you're compatible. You're trying to get to know whether the person is genuine, right? And whether they really have your best interest in mind. So, it also falls into us in terms of our responsibility to be mindful of what the other person's intention is coming off for us. Because again, we are responsible for noticing whether we are valued or not, right? So the question is, am I being valued by this person? Does this person make me feel valued? Does this person care enough about me? Can I feel it? Because sometimes we have this notion na pwede na. Unfortunately, right? that perspective might not be honest in terms of
Yes.
your value and what you expect from a relationship.
Yes.
Like, for example, well, you really like their looks. You feel like you've hit the jackpot there, but they're not really very good at treating you, and they're not very good at making you feel special. Within, again, I'm saying this within reason. Huh? I'm not saying that there might be a problem where you might be putting too much of a value of yourself, like I needed to be treated like a king or a queen. I'm not talking about that, but
Yes.
a healthy sense of self where you know how you should be treated. If they're not treating you
Yes.
the way you expect to be treated, it doesn't matter if they are rich. It doesn't matter if they are beautiful
Correct.
or handsome, or you feel like you've hit the jackpot. At the end of the
Yes.
day, you're
Agree.
going to be spending
Agree.
time with this person, and
Correct.
no matter how good they are in your eyes, I don't necessarily think it's worth experiencing self-loathing for. So that's just, yeah,
Yeah.
that's my idea on that, right? That again, you need to be responsible in terms of your
Correct.
uh mindfulness about how you feel when you are around the person.
Mm-mm. Yes. In other words, you really have to quit playing games. Kaya nga may kanta nga, quit
Yeah.
playing games with my heart.
Opo, Backstreet, sa mga viewers na
Yes,
may
di ba?
Backstreet Boys. Opo, kailangan po nilang kantahin yan ng ulit. Quit playing games with
Na.
my
Kasi yun nga, tama yun eh. Kung alam mo may masasaktan, di ba? Tsaka ang mahirap nun kasi boomerang effect yun eh. Babalik sa kanya
Yes
yun.
po.
Babalik sa kanya yun. If
Bad
you really hurt
comment.
someone,
Hindi naman
babalik sa kanya yun.
Yes po.
Correct.
Bad comment.
Di ba?
Diba?
Grabe. So, bago natin yan, yes.
Yes po, Ma'am Lynn, sorry po.
Sige, LA,
Sorry
go
to
ahead.
interrupt po. It's like what
Okay
di ba
lang,
sabi
okay
nga po, whatever you want to receive from the universe, it's that one thing that you have to give. So if you don't want to get played, then don't do it. Don't do it to someone else. Don't
Totoo yan.
Kasi I
There's
don't
a
think yes po, di ba? I don't think you will be blessed, not just a love life mo, in all the other aspects of your life if you hurt other people's feelings. If we step on somebody else's
Correct.
toes. So,
There's a lot of sowing and reaping. No? Bago natin hingian ng makabuluhang payo si Sir Vincent para sa ating mga voicemates at mga netizens, no? Sir, makabulang payo or wrap up natin para sa ating mga netizens. Bago niyo po gawin yon, we would like to have some trivia lang po about courtship. Panoorin po natin lahat. Yan. So, napakaganda ng talakayan natin ngayong gabi. So, panoorin po natin to ang tagal.
Ang galing naman nun, Ma'am Lynn. Yan. Hello.
Naglalag
Here.
tayo. Pambihira. Fiber na naglalag tayo. Anyway.
Yes po,
So,
ang
yan.
galing-galing po nun.
Trivia
Ang galing
kasi,
po nun, Ma'am Lynn.
yung trivia, actually galing kay Ma'am Jocelyn Gutierrez yun, sa kanyang YouTube channel. Thank you, Ma'am
Wow. Hi, Ma'am
Jocelyn.
Ma'am
Nabasa ko nga,
Jocelyn.
ay,
Agad ako.
klase para ng panliligaw sa buong Pilipinas, by region pala. Gaya ng sinabi ni Sir Vincent nung simula,
Yeah.
depende yun sa region kung paano yung estilo ng panliligaw. Kaya ngayon mga kaboses, at sa ating mga viewers and netizens, at yung mga senders natin kanina, ngayon po, you really have to have your all eyes, all ears para po sa ating guest ngayon na very insightful ang ating nakuha. Very, very insightful and very, very, kumbaga sa pagkain busog ka.
Opo,
mentally
totoo po.
and emotionally. Pakinggan po natin si Sir
More than
Vincent.
busog. More than busog.
Yeah.
So, in terms of courtship and relationship, I think one of the most important things that we really need to take into consideration would be how prepared we are for the process, right? We have our own responsibilities, whether you're male or female. We need to, as I've said, improve ourselves and really focus on completing ourselves and be in the process of getting to know ourselves, our strengths, our weaknesses, so we will know what we offer when we go into a relationship. That is the primary task that everyone needs to somehow complete before they even consider having that impact or influence on someone else's life. And when we do start getting into the process of courtship, it is very important to be ready for the possibility of both beauty and pain at the same time. We have to be ready for the experience of joy and happiness and suffering, because all of those things are part of the experience. Sometimes, in a sense, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And that's just how it is. But I would say, most importantly, we need to learn to value people. And that is the most important aspect of courtship. For a man, he needs to learn to value the woman. And he needs to learn to make that woman feel his manifestation of how much he values her. And for the woman, she needs to value the man and have to understand that he is trying his best, and she needs to be honest. And she needs to learn to value his time too, right? Because for me, that's the only way, the courtship process can actually happen without any resentment, without any reservations, without any uncomfortable situations that come up. It is in the valuing of the person, right? Even when you don't end up together, even when, the answer is no, you need to still value the person and their time. And I think lastly would be, we need to learn to value ourselves. We need to learn to be accepting of criticism, but still understand that we are people of value, and rejection doesn't diminish us. And whether it's rejection from a guy leaving you because he's tired of waiting, or whether it's rejection from a woman saying no to your proposition, at the end of the day, you are a person, you are here, you are existing, you are valued, right? And it's important not to forget that. And I guess that would make it easier to move on from challenges in the courtship process. And if we remember at least some of these things, I think the courtship process would be less stressful, less scary, and less challenging in the long run.
Galing. Galing, Ma'am Len. Ma'am Len, sa'yo lang po ba kung ang galing. Actually po, slow clap eh. Saka saludo po talaga ako yung Sir Vincent. Dami ko po, ako po talaga. Apo, Ma'am Len, I feel so blessed po talaga of being your co-host ngayong gabi na to. Kasi dami ko po talaga natutunan. Napansin niyo po, kanina pa ako sulat ng sulat. Alam ko, pwede ko naman siyang mapanood sa report. I couldn't stop myself from really, taking down notes and just really, parang filling myself up with a lot of insights. If I may, lang po, Ma'am Lynn, if I may say it lang po. So, ang takeaway ko po, ang kuha ko po sa sinabi ni Sir, whether you're a woman that who is being courted, or you're the man who's doing, the courting, whether you're the man or the woman in the ideal relationship na pinapangarap ninyo pareho, I think ang sinabi lang po ni Sir, it's parang ang takeaway ko po talaga is the word value. It's VALUE talaga. Na you have to know your value, and you've got to have the values of respect, honesty or authenticity, your respect for time, just very important in every way. And then, siguro sa akin, parang, you really have to really, parang, accept po. Tama po yung sinabi ni Sir na, for you to be able, sabi nga po, di ba, you will not be able to experience the light if you were not in the darkness. So, di ba po, para ma-appreciate mo yung beauty and joy of having a very ideal relationship, di ba? Eventually, it leads sa married life mo po, kailangan alam mo sa sarili mo na you are also embracing the pain and the suffering. So, diba po, tama po ba ako? Yes. Po ba talaga love? Saka po, Ma'am Lina, gusto ko pong i-share. Kasi one of my favorite stories po, I think yung mga viewers natin, may mga nakaka-relate dito, is the story of the 10-cow woman. Na you have to be, i-look up na lang po nila sa Google yan or sa internet. You have to be that kind of first, that 10-cow woman, yung in-offeran siya ng dowry na kailangan talaga 10 cows yung ibibigay sa kanya. So as a woman, ako rin po, it's a note to self too. You have to be that kind of woman. You have to be that 10-cow kind of woman. So yun lang po, 10-cow kind of woman. So yun lang po. Thank you po. So Sir Vincent, make sure na marami pong natutunan ng ating mga kaboses, ang ating mga netizens, lalo na mga senders natin ng questions. So on behalf of the viewers po who have asked questions and they're really supporting the show, na amin po pinahagi ngayong gabi. As a recap po, ano po ang mga final words na dapat tandaan ng mga nambabalak manligaw, di ba Ma'am Lynn? At nasa estado ng manliligaw, shout out to Moises. Moises,
I would say that, again, just try to be authentic with it, right? Just try to be yourself and not really be too stressed about putting your best foot forward, in a sense, and not being yourself just to impress. Because at the end of the day, if that is the acceptance that you get, that is still based on the foundation of deception, in a sense. So yeah, just try to be yourself, try to be authentic, and try to be accepting of whatever outcomes happen. Yeah, that would be it.
Wow. Correct. So napansin mo ba yan, Moises? Pinagalaroan namin yung aming graphic artist. So there you have it, mga kaboses. Yes, you heard it directly from the horse's mouth. Okay? So narinig niyo po yan mula sa isang eksperto, no? Ito po yung mga bagay na tatandaan po natin, no? Kung gusto niyo pa pong mamuni-muni ang mga mensahe po ni Sir Vincent Thomas Evangelista, Okay. Pwede niyo pong ulitin, may replay naman po ito. Pwede niyo pong ulitin panoorin at namnamin niyo po ang mga mensaheng galing sa kanya. So in behalf of VG8 Radio, nagpapasalamat po tayo kay Sir Vincent Chama si Evangelista all the way from Cebu City. Yan, from Cebu. Sir, thank you so much po talaga.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Hindi na po may online.
So thank
Yes
you.
po.
Okay. Kumbaga, dahil po dyan, marami pong tatawag sa inyo at magme-mensahe sa inyo niyan.
Oo, sigurado.
So again,
Ma'am Lynn,
sigurado.
sigurado.
Yeah.
Yes
Yes,
po.
Thank
no?
you.
You really
Ma'am
made
Lynn.
our episode more insightful. Yes.
Yes po. Opo,
Yes,
Ma'am Lynn,
okay,
if
you have something to say?
if I could just state this information po, no. Sir po, ang last name niya po is Evangelista. So it's really a messenger of that kind of love each one of us we should have. It's really an evangelist. So Sir, God bless you. God bless you more po. You're really true to your family po and to your name, sir. So ako po, it's really a blessing po to hear it. Sabi nga ni Ma'am Lynn from the expert. Ang dami ko po talagang nasulat at sana ma-apply ko at sana ma-share ko po sa mga kapwa kong single. So I agree with Sir Vincent. I agree with Ma'am Lynn. Ibinahagi niyo po ngayong gabi ay tunay namang nagbibigay linaw at nagbibigay magandang aral sa ating mga kaboses. Yes, I myself, I feel so blessed at alam ko ang ating mga kaboses, they feel so busog sa isip, sa puso.
Yeah.
Correct. Kayo po kami ng isang pagkakataon na magpadala ng mensahe. Kayo po, ngayon po ay binibigyan po namin kayo ng isang pagkakataon na magbigay po ng special message sa inyo pong loved ones at mga kaibigan, Sir Vincent.
Yan. Shout out sa inyong kaibigan.
Forever kaibigan.
So,
may shout out
yeah, I would like to say hi to my family, my wife who is I think listening in, and my wife May, my children, right? And shout out to my friends, the Lusus people. They're I think you know Debbie Tudtud.
By the way,
yeah.
Debbie, cousin mo siya, sir, no?
Yeah, she's my cousin.
Si Deb. Deb Voices. Yung maganda ang boses din. Yan.
Magaling po. Ang galing. Small world talaga.
Okay.
Thank you, Miss Deb.
Yes.
Nasa lahat na yung pagiging smart.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sir, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sir Vincent. God bless you po. And then, Ma'am, thank you for letting us have you tonight. Thank you. God bless you po, Sir Vincent. And God bless you more immeasurably. Maraming salamat po, sir.
Thank you.
Love
God
you.
bless
Thank
you
you
both.
po.
God bless you po. God bless you po.
Thank you, Sir Vincent. Thank you. Nakakatawa, nakaka-bless si Sir Vincent.
Opo.
Iba, no? Iba yung binahagi ni Sir Vincent, no? Kung
Yes po.
gusto ko lang ma-emphasize, no? Yung
Yes.
Actually, nag-overtime tayo. Pero anyway, wala naman tayong kasunod na show, eh. Hi, Sir Richard.
Opo. Hi, Sir Richard Abalos. Ating poging.
Yeah.
Yes, show manager.
The rich boys. Okay. So
Yes.
I think gusto ko lang i-emphasize this, takeaways lang.
Yes po.
Sa mga babae, don't let him wait if you're not interested with him. Okay? Yun. Huwag mo nang patagilin kung hindi naman ikaw interesado sa kanya. Kasi minsan yung iba ginagamit lang no? Pero wag naman gano'n, no? Now, dun sa part naman ng lalaki, if you receive rejection, kung halimbawa, dinecline niya yung offer mo, it doesn't make you a bad person. Okay? Sabi nga ni Sir, try to be authentic. Kung okay, it's fine. No? Alam mo yon, hindi siya. Kumbaga, wag kang magdamdam. Just be, huwag kang magdamdam, tanggapin mo kung ano yon. And also, meron akong sinulat dito Kung hindi mo kayang tanggapin yung sinabi niya na friends lang kayo, don't be, okay? Huwag mong pilitin. Kasi it will only be reminding you of the rejection. Okay? Pero kung kaya mo, sige. Kung kaya mo mag-wait, go ahead. Okay? Kasi mahirap din naman daw yung, kung bilang sa lalaki, no, na court ka ng court, bahala ka kung magligaw ka dyan. Basta ako, sinabi ko na sa'yo directly na friends lang tayo, I'm not interested with you, tinapat ka na. Tapos ikaw pa rin nagpapatuloy. Don't do that. Kasi ang sabi nga ni Sir Vincent from that, no, insight lang, you're just hurting yourself. Okay? Kasi minsan may mga lalaki, darating din man tayo, magugustuhan niya rin ako. Yung bang buntot pa rin ng buntot, alam mo yon. No,
Yes,
don't do that kasi you're just hurting yourself, no? You really have to be honest with yourself. Kung talagang ayaw niya sa'yo, hayaan mo. No, hayaan mo. Kasi kung
Yes,
kung may nagsarang pinto o may nagsarang bintana, darating yung time, ay magbubukas din para sa'yo. You're gonna find the best woman or the best man for you. Diba? So, yun
Yes,
yung gano'n, no? Diba? And another one then, alam ko meron ka rin mga nakuha dyan, no? Maliban sa magandang sinabi mo kanina. Sa isang relationship, you really have to be ready with, diba sis? You really have to be ready with joy and suffering. Hindi laging bed of roses ang pagkakaroon ng isang relasyon. Meron yan. Okay? You have, binanggit mo kanina to Courtship tuloy, no? Naalala ko sa Courtship. LA, binanggit mo yung salitang value. You really have to value people. Okay? Yun yung tumimo sa isip ko at sa puso ko sa sinabi ni Sir Vincent. You really have to, the most important aspect in a relationship is the word value, just like what you said a while ago. The word value. You really have to value yourself and you value other people. Okay? Value their time, value their personality. Doon lang iikot. No? Kaakibat din ng value yung respect, di ba? So yun yung aking mga takeaways na napakaganda from Sir Vincent. Kaya sa mga hindi po nakapanood dyan, panoorin niyo po. Hindi po masasayang ang inyong mga sandali. Very insightful there. Napakaganda. Yeah, ikaw.
Sobra po. Ako po, kitang-kita niyo po, no? Ngiting-ngiti po talaga ako, Ma'am Lynn, kasi firstly po, sobra po talaga ako nagpapasalamat sa inyo for being an instrument of God, for this wonderful opportunity, for this wonderful blessing. Kasi ako po talaga, I pray for everything that I'm doing every day. So, sabi ko nga po, wala naman tayong paghihingian ng guidance at ng sagot sa mga tanong, mga totoong tanong. In one creator and in one, sabi nga po, one divine po, diba? Source of everything that's good and beautiful. So, sa akin lang po, Ma'am Lynn, talaga, I just really want to emphasize on that, na you have to be clear with how much you love yourself, and there has to be like this clarity of what you really want in life. Diba po? Kasi kapag hindi yan malinaw sa'yo, guguluhin mo lang din yung buhay. Guguluhin mo lang din yung buhay. So, parang sa akin po, para po talaga smooth flowing lahat. Iba po, bukod sa pinagdadasal mo yun, dapat naman po talaga, di ba, Ma'am Lynn, kayo nga po as a Christian, alam po na you have to put God first, whatever your religion po that you have, to the single guys and to the single men and women there, whatever religion that you have to really ask for the guidance po. Kasi, of the divine nga, narinig ko yun dun sa isang show. Pero, narinig ko na po yan sa isang show. Shout out po pala sa mga kasama natin sa BJ. Ma'am Nikki, narinig ko yan sa show nila kagabi. So, napakaganda rin yung topic ng Voice of the Unheard. So, yun nga, parang you have to really learn. Cliché po, pero totoo. You have to learn to love yourself muna. You have to be clear with how much you value yourself. And you have to have a very good set of values. Kasi po bubuo kayo ng pamilyas, di ba? So what will you give your future family and your future kids if you yourself, you don't know what kind of values you have? So sa akin po, I'm a work in progress. I'm still a work in progress. I still pray for the right man, and I'm still in this journey of becoming the right woman po. And so help me God. Basta po, ang takeaway ko talaga, Sir Vincent, na isang evangelist of God's love po. Kasi of that true love po. Ang galing-galing po talaga. Sir, you're such a blessing to this show, to all our viewers. Talagang, clear ka dapat. Saka, you should know your worth. 101%. So, yes. Yun
Check
lang po.
on that. Check. Big check. Yeah.
Salamat, ma'am.
Before we say goodbye, before we bid them goodbye, may message lang po. Eto
Oh, yeah.
Ito, basahin na. Karshi. Leche plan namin ni Moises Iba sa Saturday, ha? And this is the cousin of Sir Vincent. Sis, eto na. Sumagot siya. Eto. Hi there, boss. Yeah. It's the way Sir Vincent talks. Yeah. Si Deb, siya yung maganda yung... Yeah, have you met her? Siya yung
Narinig ko na po.
Yeah,
narinig ko
animator siya. Maganda yung mga section niya sa YouTube channel niya about na storytelling. Yeah, ang ganda. Pina-follow ko yun eh. Mukhang wala ka pang upload ata, Deb. Anyway, so thank you din, Rian, sa message. Yan,
yes po, you're very
thank you, Rian. Yan, thank you. So, well, that's it. So, Richard, so nag-extend kami. Yeah. Thank you, LA, Miss Voice Lab, no? Lady Ann Briguera. Sis, thank you so much for sharing your most precious time with the show. I really thank you and love you. Thank you. God bless you. Stay pretty, stay charming. Yeah. Thank you. God bless you. And may the Lord grant the desire of your heart. Okay, may He give you na the Mr. Right. All right. Thank you, sis. Love you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Love you.
Diyan ka lang. Hindi kita i-exit, ha? Yeah, hindi kita exit. Magsalang ako. Sa mga kabasas, maraming salamat po sa pagsama niyo po sa amin ni Miss LA, The Voice Lab, at ni Sir Vincent Thomas Evangelista. Nawa po yung nag-enjoy kami sa aming show. Abangan niyo po kami sa Webes. Yan po ay February 26. Na ang aming pong topic naman ay about marriage proposal and engagement. Yan. Abangan niyo po kami. Kumbaga, LA, sinimulan natin to sa dating and then courtship. And now we're gonna have our next topic on Thursday is engagement and marriage proposal. Okay, samahan niyo po kami dito lamang po sa BJ8 Radio, Queen Voice of All Seasons. Ako po si Sweet Nicole, ang inyong karamay na handa pong makinig sa inyong kwento. At ito po ang programang nagbibigay katugunan sa inyong mga katanungan sa pamamagitan po ng ating mga eksperto. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Ma'am Liz.
Thank you. Yan. Thank you, everyone. So maraming salamat, sis. Teka, tanggalin muna natin to. Naghahang ako, ano? PLDT yan. Ay, sorry. Yan, thank you. Thank you, sis. Ay, maraming salamat pong muli. Pasensya na po kayo. No? Thank you. Yeah.
Girl, you are my TikTok girl, sobrang ganda mo. Ang panoorin kita ay na-addict na ako. Cause girl, you are my TikTok girl, sobrang ganda mo. Sa galaw mong pambihira, napahanga mo ako. Yeah, you got the smile that I can't deny. Nai-love ako sa matulad mo na Pinay. Yeah, yeah.
Habang ako'y nag-i-scroll sa Facebook, napadaan ang video mo mula sa TikTok.